All right. Well, I am now live. Praise the Lord Jesus, because I'm telling you, the last 10 minutes have been insane. I really, really apologize to anybody who watches this live or on the replay. There is quite a bit of delay going on. As a lot of my regular students know, I am normally able to log in on time, but it is not completely abnormal for me to have issues with my connection because I'm upstate New York, okay? I'm not just south of Canada, but I'm very upstate New York. Heather. Hi, Heather. I was getting worried too. Okay, so I do apologize, everybody. If you could give me a big thumbs up because that would really be helpful. Yeah, I know. Hi, Nicola. Let me see. I still, unfortunately, get delays with the internet. Based upon where I live. Of course, one of my students lives in Lebanon, and I can't complain because she usually has issues. So I had to use my cell phone. To tether to my laptop because I'm here right now, but I can't get internet on anything else in my house. And I really don't, I couldn't even. How delayed is this for you guys? Because it's delayed on my side. Is it okay for you to listen to? Hi, Andrew George. Andrew, you've been super busy. If you care to, do you want to share with us some stuff that I know you've got going on in the background? It's okay. Thank you. Okay. Hi, Silver Fox. Yeah. So one thing that you want to do whenever you're live, whether it's on YouTube or Instagram or anywhere else, you want to make sure that you take the time to acknowledge people who show up on your live. So it's really cool to say, hey, thanks everybody for coming. Welcome to the live. Welcome to the replay. Thank you for watching live. Thank you for watching on the replay. But you also do want to, like on Instagram, because you're just going to go live off your phone on Instagram. What I like to do is I like to always wave or wave back to anybody who's coming on. And on YouTube, I do like to mention you guys so that this way, hey, Miss Rebecca, I know, Miss Rebecca, what's going on? But I'm a little jangled. I apologize, you guys, because I literally had to tether my laptop to my phone to get this up and running. So for sure, these sessions are not meant to be all Stacey radio all the time. Share with me anything that you're doing down below on behalf of your business. Make sure you give me a big thumbs up. Any questions, any comments, anything like that. It's my pleasure to help you this weekly YouTube live stream / replay is my give back to my students and to the community who supports me. Andrew says, I've been working on building my challenge to help people find their customers and build a product line, and I managed to launch that on Monday. Cool. And I'm starting the first challenge next week. That's super great. Cool. Very, very glad. Okay. So your course isn't even focused on the embroidery business, or is it more narrowly focused? So that it's folks that do embroidery or maybe personalization, sublimation, that sort of thing? Or are you going out broader and it's like anybody and everybody? Just curious, because I'd have a different piece of advice depending upon your answer. Okay, is anybody working on their website? My main website was down. Didn't even know it till a student told me, because I'm not logging in and out of my website every day, and you guys probably aren't either necessarily. I hope that for those of you who have websites, and most of my students, I always recommend that you do, because up to 80% of people won't buy from you if you don't have a website, right? They're just going to feel like you're too much of a hobbyist. There's too much competition for every possible niche and sub niche now. So you want to make sure that you do have your own website. So even if you're a products-based business, even if you're a handmade business, you have Amazon Handmade, you're on Etsy, whatever, you still really should have your own website going for that kind of credibility for your business, because that might be some of the reason why you're not getting the sales that you would expect. And I would recommend that you log into your website once a week to twice a week, because once a week, you really ideally should at least be checking your theme to see if it needs any updates or security patches, and to make sure that all of your plugins are updated as well, because after a while, things might not play well with each other. Or even if you have like website security and backup, which you should, you're still kind of like not helping the cause there. So at least weekly, you should go in there. And then ideally, once a week, you should be putting up some sort of blog post as well. Google likes to see that besides any sort of like plugin updates, theme updates, that you're updating your site with content at least weekly and on a minimum. That does help your website over time to rank higher and higher on Google anyway. Hey, Miss Bridget. Hi at Personal Space Creations. It's taking me longer than I would like today to type things out and get them up, because everything's tethered to my phone. I was able to use my personal hotspot and then tether off my phone. Although weirdly, even getting the personal hotspot to come live is an issue. I'm just upstate New York enough, and I'm not close enough to Albany or a major hub, that when things get weird by me, they can get weird. So I appreciate everybody's patience, and I apologize for the delay. Andrew says, once I get back to creating YouTube videos, I want to repurpose that content into blog posts. I think that you should. Oh, okay. And I thought that was the answer, Andrew. Sorry. I'm targeting embroidering people, but the info would apply to any product-based business. I think it's best, especially when you're first starting out. I mean, you do whatever you want, of course, Mr. Andrew. You know what you're doing. And I do like the idea about repurposing YouTube videos as blog posts. My business website, woman-101.com, what I would do is, back when I was working my Woman 101 YouTube channel, I would do a blog post and I would embed the YouTube video into the blog post. And I use a teleprompter app to do most, if not all, of my YouTube based material. Because I can be very talkative, and I know me on lives, and you guys, a lot of you are my students for a long time now, and you know me on lives. So, you want your YouTube videos. There's no magic length for regular long form content YouTube videos. Like, how long should my YouTube videos be? As long as it takes to make the point, and really not much longer. But like when you're talking fast and loose and you want to edit that into a YouTube video, to me, if you're not using a teleprompter app for all or most of it, it ends up being a pain in the butt, especially when you're the person editing the videos, because then you have to like edit out not just like every and ah and pause, but now it's like you might have talked yourself into a tangent, and does the tangent stay or go? So I always use the teleprompter app. So why I mention that is because the teleprompter app script, the doc or the Google Doc or Word doc that you can do either, that you put into the teleprompter app, that script I use as the base of my blog post, right, into which I will embed the YouTube video that corresponds with it. Now, be careful. The only thing that I would say here is that you want to make sure that your blog post, maybe you add some more content to it, maybe you add links to outbound resources, to things that maybe you cite to, or maybe add an additional like tip, trick, or technique. Of course, all this depends upon the content of the YouTube video and, obviously the content of the corresponding blog post, because then Google hates duplicate content. It won't slap your, it won't kind of demote the ranking of your Google, of your blog post, right? So, there's no bright line in terms of how much extra content you need to add. But if you're going to be like, ooh, I'll use a teleprompter app, and ooh, I'll use a doc to work off of, and ooh, so I'll copy and paste the guts of that doc into the blog post on my WordPress backed website, because that's what I really prefer that you guys use. All that's great, but I would still add content or links to make it different enough so that it's not just copy paste, right? Because then Google won't punish you in terms of rankings. I'd hate to see you guys do all the work of putting up a blog post and stuff and then going, well, why isn't my website doing any better? So Nicola says, oh yes, my website building in BigCommerce as I have 4,000 SKUs to add. No, I know, girl. Aiming to launch in August, but no definite date yet. Once I've broken the back of it, I'll set a date and I'll start to tease the launch on social media. Absolutely. So that's another thing that you guys, if anybody's ever stuck for like, what do I do with my content-based marketing? I run out of ideas, and, Stacey says not everything that I post should be nothing but like a tsunami of sales announcements and a parade of product photos. You're a business, so yes, a lot of what you post is going to be about that. But one thing that I would say to dovetail off what Nicola says is that, you should be teasing your next products based launch. Or if you're a coach or a course creator, you sell digital downloads, you should still treat it like a launch, right? And you need to kind of, as I say, warm up the pizza oven, if you will. If you were baking a pizza, you would not just shove it into an ice cold oven and pull it out like 5 minutes later and go, why isn't it cooked? Right? You need to like always preheat your oven for whatever you're, cooking or baking in there. And you need to give it sufficient time to heat. If you're not heating up your audience and your email list about your product launch, or cart open, cart close on like a course or something like that, then, that might be part of the reason why you're not getting like the results that you would like to, right? Just the same way as not having a website or not keeping a website updated and working can turn people off too, who are new to you or don't have a lot of that KLT factor or no like and trust factor with you. It doesn't matter if you're a course creator or coach. It doesn't matter if you sell products or services. All these things are true. The more know, like, and trust somebody has with you, the more likely it is that they're willing to put up with the fact that like maybe there's a broken link on your site. But obviously, we should all be checking for broken links on our sites. Sometimes they have plugins that let you know, it'll give you a report about a broken link, that sort of thing. But let's talk about different challenges that you're having with your content marketing. That's kind of like what I want as a focus today, beyond anything that you guys want me to acknowledge or celebrate or cheer you guys on for. I always like to ask my students, and people who even aren't my students who are watching this live or on the replay, you guys too, what are you doing for your business this week? Like Nicola has a big project. She's working on her website, and once she feels like she's getting pretty close, August is her goal, but she's, not stressing out over it. That's cool. That's the right mindset to have. So she's, she's going to launch a new product line collection and get her website launched or relaunched. So that's like a big deal. I know Andrew has a website. I know he keeps it updated and working. And now I know that he's launching, I know his products-based business is still going on. And I know that he's launching his course. When you're targeting embroidery people, you guys keep adding stuff down below. I can talk and talk, but I'm also here to like answer your questions about content marketing on various platforms and things like that, okay? But when you sell anything to anybody, to go super broad is a very difficult thing to do. What you could have gotten away with 10, 15 years ago, you can't get away with now. Whether it's on Google, whether you're running Google ads or not, or whether you're trying to rank organically through your website or not, no matter what social media platform we're looking at pretty much nowadays, there's so much cacophonous noise going on. It's hard to like rise above the din. So if Andrew was just talking about and using keywords and hashtags that were more broad on any social platform, or using like keywords or even some long tail keywords And he's trying to teach people how to, like, find an audience for their product and sell it. It would be very difficult normally for him to be able to get pulled up in search or get suggested out on social platforms and stuff, because it's hard to get traction with super broad nowadays. So I would, Andrew, at least in the beginning, while you're still building up street cred as a coach, I would focus the keywords, the hashtags, even the longer tail keywords on, folks that are in the embroidery business, the personalization business, maybe the sublimation business too. But I would start with, what's super narrow. But, and Andrew knows this, but for the benefit of anyone else that's listening, I want you, it is very difficult, but not impossible to go too narrow with keywords, or too narrow with long tail keywords, or too narrow with hashtags where applicable, right? You can do it, but it's almost impossible to do usually. I've seen it though. I saw a lady last summer who wanted to sell handmade soaps to cat lovers only, and they were, all or mostly like cat-shaped soaps. And she said she wasn't getting sales except for friends and family members, and they were coming back, so her stuff was good. And I said, well, did you research what traction, those keywords and hashtags would get? And we looked at a couple of different platforms, and barely anyone was using those keywords or hashtags. So I said, for now, I would go a little broader. Maybe it's animal shaped soaps, because cat shaped handmade soaps might be, maybe way too narrow. Okay, so Personal Space Creation says, I just sat down with a physical calendar and sticky notes to make sure as I start to integrate product posts with my KLT, or Know, Like, and Trust relationship marketing based post and sales post, so it is balanced. I think that that's very smart. It's not a bright line, but I would feel very comfortable that however much more you do it, that you have at least as many, if not up to, say, roughly double the relationship marketing posts as there are sales-based marketing posts. In all of your posts, no matter what kind they are, the sales-based posts, they kind of speak for themselves though, but still, in your relationship marketing-based post, somewhere in the caption that goes with, say, a Facebook or Instagram feed post, you should identify yourself as a business owner. You should identify yourself as someone who creates products for a specific person to solve a problem, satisfy a desire, whatever it is. Because even if you do a quote card type posts, quote graphic posts and stuff like that, they can do really well. And those I would put in more neutral colors, use the most neutral versions, that you can do, because those get shared out more than stuff with branded colors that aren't like closer to neutral themselves, for whatever the reason. But those quotes might resonate with people. Tips, tricks, or techniques might resonate with people, but they have to understand that you're not just some helpful person who created that content and just posted it and, oh, cool, I pulled it up in search. It had to do with my problem. It had to do with my solution. And now I'll share it out. I'll save it, like whatever I can do with it on the platform, depending upon the platform, right? Maybe I'll watch it multiple times, and all of that's great. But if you want the sale, you do have to identify yourself. You do have to identify yourself as, right, a business owner whose business does X for Y type of person to give them Z type of result. That's one problem that people have with their relationship marketing posts. Now, Personal Space Creations, or Bridget, and her husband, Darren. Hi, Darren. Hi, moms. Hi, cats. They know this, but I say this because you never know, especially on YouTube, who can watch this later. And I want to make sure that I'm giving you good direction. Hi, Miss Lisa Garrett. What's going on? Hope all is well. Good morning. Hashtag live, hashtag replay. Really cool. Personal Space Creations, or Bridget, says, I also created a spreadsheet calendar so that my husband can see what the plan is. That's important because they're business partners. They have a brick and mortar business that also has like an online social media aspect. And then they have a separate parallel business that's more B2B, or business to business, as opposed to business to customer, right? And that one is completely virtual, right? Or they may be creating stuff in that brick and mortar business, but it's way more virtual, the second type of business. So Darren is dealing with the products daily. So I'm delegating taking photos to him. And you should, because he's in the mix of it. Hi, Minnie's Art Studio. What's going on? Okay, so I hope you're still here. There is a bit of a delay. Hi, if I didn't mention you, I like to acknowledge Minnie's Art Studio. Okay, so I have the hardest time trying to find my peeps. So I paint on wood canvases that have been used from recycled wood. Okay, so when we're dealing with art, okay, because what I say is when you're trying to figure out who your niche is, possibly be everyone that loves art. It can't possibly be everyone who loves art that's female or identifies as female, right? Trying to be careful nowadays. Love all, hate none. Okay. So, and it can't just be people who like eco art, eco-friendly art that is getting more narrow, right? So that is helping. You are going in the right direction. Minnie, I'll presume your name is Minnie. Can you recommend some hashtags? Okay. So here's the thing. This is something that you have to, before you start worrying about keywords and hashtags, you really have to think about the person who is searching you up on social, because increasingly Facebook and Instagram and platforms like them are becoming social search engines. So you all know people will put stuff into Google search to search up content that has to do with solving problems that they have and or satisfying desires that they have. Now, like when it comes to art of any kind, art can be viewed as helping someone to solve a problem. Like maybe they moved into a new home and now they have to decorate. And so they're worrying about interior design and artwork and stuff like that. But usually something that's art, jewelry, crafty, something like that, if it's not solving a particular problem per se, then it's satisfying a desire. So the desire that you're trying to help people with, you're probably looking into, like, you have to know your own niche best. For me to just wing out hashtags, that's kind of tricky because, hashtags will help you get searched up, right? The hashtags, Minnie, will help your content be properly identified and indexed on platforms that use hashtags that people can search on, like Instagram, like TikTok, like Twitter, for example. Hashtags on Facebook are still kind of meaningless. I'm not saying you can't use them, but I would not. Like the average Facebook user tends to be older and is very, very used to not searching on hashtags. So like keywords are important, but using hashtags on Facebook as of right now wouldn't hurt you. So I have a tool down below that you can look into, Minnie. It's called flick.tech. There's a link there. I can get you a week free trial of it, because anyone watching this live or on the replay, it's not that I don't do people's homework for them. That's not how I'm trying to say this. But like, the person that you're trying to sell to the most, and you understand your industry and your materials and your processes the most. You're going to know that very organically and on a cellular level besides somebody like me. So what I will tell my students is that, yes, it's almost impossible. You can do it, but it's almost impossible to niche down too much. But like, you have to think of, like, what's the desire that your person has to decorate their home or their office or whatever with your creations, right? In this case, it's artwood on reclaimed wood. So they are thinking more eco-friendly. They are thinking more like upcycled. They are thinking more, but like even using hashtags like just like upcycled or upcycled art, yes, they're applicable, things like that you could use, but again, you're trying to also think of like the mentality that your shopper is in. So your type of shopper should be looking on things like hashtag upcycled, hashtag like reclaimed wood and stuff like that. But what's the mentality that they have when they're looking for artwork that is like that? What's important to them? People don't just shop for the products, they shop for the meaning, what it means to them once they make that purchase. As they say, usually features tell, benefits sell. Baked into the benefits, especially the biggest, most important benefit to someone, is what it means to them when they purchase your product. People will purchase more emotionally first and then intellectually afterwards. They'll justify a purchase, especially if it's for something that's not about survival or to fix a product. They're going to purchase on emotion first, as opposed to like intellectually, I have a problem, I must solve it. But even when it comes to solving problems, there's emotions, and anybody who doesn't want to spend any money or they're scared to spend bigger amounts of money, if you get them emotionally where they're sitting at while they're conducting the search and pulling up the content to binge on, then they sit there and they go, this person gets me. So you have to always, no matter what you're selling, no matter who you're selling it to, whether we're talking keywords, hashtags, or both, and that's going to be dependent upon the platform, you always have to stand in the shoes of the shopper. Okay? Always. Otherwise, you're missing them and you're missing the point of their search. Flick is amazing. Thank you. I know Bridget and Darren use it a lot. Hey, Miss Minnie, I'm glad you're here. Heather says, when you add your hashtags to the Instagram post, should you put them in order of relevance first or least to greatest? That's a great question. I think on Instagram, especially, because you're allowed to, except if it's a piece of Instagram story content, if it's a feed post or an IGTV video or a reel or something like that, you can use up to 30 hashtags. And I know Heather knows this, but not everybody watching live or on the replay will, right? And if you guys can give me a big thumbs up, that would really help. Thank you. And keep those questions coming. I'm here for you guys. Okay, so like I would go in order of relevance, because I think increasingly, I predicted quite a few things about how the Instagram algorithm is going to evolve over especially the last 2 years. No offense. I've called that keywords were going to become increasingly important in captions, and that it wasn't all going to be a hashtag-based game. That's because the algorithms, the machine learning that's going on with the AI or the artificial intelligence that rules the Instagram platform, it is getting more complicated. It's learning at a 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade level. It's starting to make more nuanced decisions. Plus, so many people over time are getting more and more hep about using hashtags and about going more narrow. It's getting harder and harder to compete on just hashtags. Can you do it? All day long. Do I have students that do it? No matter what they're selling and who they're selling it to, all day long. Not just products, not just coaches and course creators. That's the good news. But what I'm saying is, just being hashtag centric over time, weeks, months, however long it takes, because as I always joke, Donna Huslander is so busy, she's almost never here anymore, but she and her husband gave me this. I joke around that I have a crystal ball. I used to not have a crystal ball and say to my students, I don't have a crystal ball, so I can't. But in more recent years, I used to joke, I have a crystal ball and it doesn't work. So they gave me like another crystal ball as a gift, which was sweet. I have these crystal balls, but they don't work. But at least not for me, maybe for Donna. But I will say that like over time, just being hashtag centric and writing little to no caption, that's going to continue to hurt you. You have to be competitive, especially on a more mature platform like Instagram, with both the keywords that you select and the hashtags that you use. And I do think, to further answer Heather's question, I would always put the most important hashtags first that I could also be most competitive for. So there's no exact bright line because they don't want people gaming the system. But I would say within the first 10 out of 30 hashtags, the most important one should be in there. Again, no exact bright line, but just roughly the first third of my hashtags would be the ones I really want and need to rank for, that I have a shot at ranking for, and then roughly in order of importance. Not to offend anybody, but the name of your business, unless you are bigger. I've had some students who have been around for 10, 20 years, and then they come to me and they already have a multiple six-figure business. And they're like, people do search on my business name. They do that for Joe's Dairy Bar and Grill, our business, our family's business that we run, in addition to me doing this. And that's a 7-figure business now for years. So for us, we might put hashtag Joe's Dairy Bar and then a derivation of it, hashtag Joe's Dairy Bar and Grill. That for us might be in the first 2 of say 10, 20, 30 hashtags. But for most of you where you don't have a huge following, you don't have a ton of volume, I would never put the name of your business first in terms of hashtag like clouds or collections, because no offense to you, people are searching and they don't know to search for you or the name of your specific products or a specific product line collection. That's why I suggest what I suggest. So yes, I would put them in order of relevance first, most important, and then the least important ones that either you can't be as competitive on, but are still applicable to the content. Yes, I would put that in there, but I would just demote that to like the bottom of the pile, including for most of you, the name of your business. Over time, people will search more and more as you build your business. You go to 4 figures, more, multiple 4, 5 figures, multiple 5, 6 figures, multiple 6. Over time, you can move the hashtag name of your business up there. Personal Space Creation says they also shop by room. We're finding out that that's a big focus when shopping for decor. See, anybody who is selling decor and home-based solutions, you guys know your market a lot, but thank you for your leadership in terms of sharing that, Bridget. And Minnie, that should help you because, again, that's showing you what I said before. People, you have to stand in the shoes of the shopper. What are they searching up that's going to bring up by keyword, hashtag, or both? Content like mine that's optimized the way my content's optimized. Then you have a shot at being seen. Nicola Cousin says, I sell beads and craft supplies aiming at work-at-home moms and side hustle Etsy store owners. Would you focus hashtags on what the product is or what they would make with it? So far, I've been mixing both. That would be my advice to you, is mixing both, because you're kind of spreading your risk. You also understand your audience well, Nicola. I know you've been selling to them for years. So I think if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think that's really good. I think you guys using something like hashtag WAH like work at home mom, that's a very well-known acronym, but not everybody watching this live or on the replay would know for sure, right? So I understand the acronym, but I would use that either never or I would use that at the bottom of the pile, because just look it up on anything from TikTok to Twitter to Instagram. Those are the places where using hashtags are most important right now, platform-wise, and you will see that you will be buried in seconds. But of course, if you're like, hey, I'm doing a feed post, an IGTV video, I'm doing a reel, right? Because all those you get to use 30 hashtags. IGTV video and reel, I would put the 30 hashtags in the caption, right? For a feed post, it has been long time known. They can all go in the caption. They can all go in the first comment if you copy and paste like boom, like that. And you can split them up too if you want to. There's no one way for an Instagram feed post that is better to do. Believe me, if I find out from a credible source otherwise, I'd be the first online to tell you. So Heather says, I need to circle back to Flick. I struggled with understanding it before, so I canceled my subscription. That's understanding. And everybody, you guys moved, Heather, a couple months ago. You guys had a lot going on a couple months ago. And if you're not going to use the tool, what's the point, right? But Flick has a lot, and in fact, over the last couple of months, they've added a lot of cool features and in-house training and stuff like that too. They have really good blog posts for people who like reading blogs better. They have videos. But I mean, what I like about Flick is that it will show me it is an official Instagram third-party vendor or partner. So you're not doing anything like gray hat or black hat by using it, everybody. But so Instagram does work directly. Well, it's okayed by Instagram. So that's what's important to know. Yes, there are some things that you can do, pulling things up manually and kind of reverse engineering on your own with the Instagram platform. But it's not just faster and more convenient. There's different views that you can get when you run your report on a hashtag. The suggestions that they come up with are fire based off the hashtag you're working off of. It shows you, like, is that hashtag falling out of favor in terms of use and volume? Is it increasing in favor? It shows you the hashtags like the main hashtag you're searching on, and then all the other like related ones or suggested ones. It will show you the amount of comments that they tend to fetch. This is just data that you wouldn't always be able to get by going manually. And again, Instagram, your hashtag game has to be on point. But like I've been saying, and like some of my videos that are coming out this week on my YouTube channel into next week, they are really focusing on, you need to like up your caption game tremendously too. The keywords that you use there are super, super important. Just like some of my students with an Etsy course that I overhauled, the older version of it was done by Renee Christine, and then she asked me to do, just like I updated it, and then it's gotten to a point where it's become a quantum leap, and the whole course has to be gutted. So I redid what was Pinterest Academy. Pinterest also asked for the name because they're like, we own that name. So Renee's like, okay, here. Renaming it wouldn't have been a big deal, but it needed to be gutted because SEO, or search engine optimization, keywords, long tail keywords versus short tail keywords, all that game that's so important for Google is now hugely important for the last year to 2 years, really, on Pinterest. If you don't have a good SEO game going, it could be difficult to get traction on Pinterest. If you know what you're doing with Pinterest SEO or SEO in general, you can get a pin ranked within minutes to hours. And Google loves Pinterest. Google loves Pinterest. So like your pins not only will rank higher and faster if you know what you're doing on the Pinterest platform, and they're likely to get suggested out more by the Pinterest algorithm on that platform. But over time, Google will rank your Pinterest pins a lot harder and faster too as search results, along with the blog posts. And in fact, you may notice this if you bring up things in search. You'll notice that the Pinterest, that when you search something on Google, Pinterest pins are pretty close to the top, over blog posts and stuff like that. So thought I had to say that. Nicola says, I totally use long tail hashtags. My Instagram account is tiny. Nicola says, I love using Flick. Yay! It's great for finding relevant long tail keywords that I would never think of myself. That's important. And then of course, Nicola knows because she uses it, that you really want to look at the traction that these various keywords are going to get. And you can sort them by highest use to lowest use. I always do that next. I'll look at everything that's there and go, okay, take in the general picture, and then I'll start hitting filters to rank things. And obviously anything that's through the stratosphere, I'm either not using at all, or if I'm okay, I have 25 hashtags and I may as well, use up my last 5 slots, if you will, in a hashtag. I call it a cloud of hashtags, my hashtag cloud. Then fine, I'll put super competitive things in the bottom because, as we say in football, that's like a Hail Mary pass. I would rather you use all 30 of your hashtags as opposed to just going, nah, I'll only use the ones that I think I can be competitive for. Another thing that, because every hashtag is a possibility. It's a different, it's your one single piece of content is indexed up to 30 different times. Another thing before I leave the subject of Instagram, and if you're in my social gram shortcut course, not the social pin shortcut course I alluded to before for Pinterest, if you're in social gram shortcut, you guys know because I started talking about it there. And then I know I spoke about it in another student group on Monday. The CEO of Instagram came out and said Instagram is officially no longer a photo sharing app, because that, not to say that you can't put photos or graphics or GIFs or memes there. You still can and you should. You need to mix it up. But he's saying that video is way more important on Instagram. They were saying that, kind of softballing it, when IGTV came out 3 years ago now. They acknowledged there that that was more of a long game play against Instagram, and they've not abandoned that. In fact, if you do a live stream, they give you an option at the end of a live stream to save it as an IGTV video. And I totally think that you should, unless you need it to be disappearing content that you must show up live or else. I'm not saying that doesn't have a place, but in most cases, your live stream should be saved as an IGTV video. And yes, you should have a caption pre-done for it, so you can copy and paste it out of like a notes app in your phone or something like that. And then the hashtag cloud, you need to prepare it, and as part of the caption for an IGTV video. Same for Reels. I don't know that I would do it differently for IGTV as for Reels. Reels, just like an IGTV video caption, just like a feed post caption on Instagram, you get 2,200 characters to use. Do you have to use them all? No. Must every caption be a long form, like blog post type caption? No, but a lot of them should. You should mix things up. If you hate writing, this is a challenge to you. I don't want to be flip and say, just hire it out to someone else, because some of you are like, I'd love to, but I can't, Should we alternate hashtag clouds? That's a really great question, Bridget from Personal Space Creations. And the answer is absolutely yes. It never used to matter until about a couple of years ago. They said they don't want you just copying and pasting the same hashtag cloud over and over again. At Joe's, when we're super busy, which is increasingly now that we're in business and even pushing up from there, lucky us, we'll toggle back and forth between 2-3 main hashtag clouds and just kind of mix it up. I'd rather you guys, especially if you're a small to medium-sized business, you guys have the ability and you have the time and the bandwidth. If you're not crazy selling, then you do have a little bit of extra time. Come up with as many different hashtag clouds as you can. To be fair, though, every post that you do, if you're posting different products, you're not going to have the same exact hashtag cloud anyway. When you think about it, at least some of the hashtags should relate directly to what's being depicted or shown in the picture, in the video, right? So I can't say it enough. You guys should use Reels. Reels is still off the chain a year later after being released across the United States, let alone places around that time or before that time. And again, going back to the video content, short form video content is super hot right now. What's it going to be in a year or two from now? Gee, I don't know. But, or we'll use the original one. Gee, I don't know. But seriously, over time, you are going to get, at least over the next year or so, I do feel safe projecting that you need to do short form video content. It's the fastest way for a small to medium sized business to really get their stuff suggested out by the algorithms on TikTok, on Instagram. Those are the two hottest short form. And then there's YouTube Shorts too. If you guys want me to discuss YouTube Shorts, I'll do that here. Should you have your own separate Shorts channel, something that's a hybrid, both? I will say this really quickly, and if you guys don't want to discuss YouTube Shorts, we don't have to go any deeper right now. But they did make an announcement, YouTube itself, recently, that the algorithm, of course, is getting more nuanced about everything over time and not just the shorts. But the algorithm is pushing and suggesting out shorts to those YouTube users, who are more apt or more want to see shorts. That's not to say that they won't suggest it out to people who aren't already into the short form video content. And folks from all generations like it because of the explosion of TikTok, especially over 2020, although it was growing quite nicely 2018 and 2019. But like I often say, COVID threw something like TikTok from the crock pot where it was migrating into like Instant Pot territory, and it shoved it in a microwave. That's why Instagram shoved out Reels as fast as it could. And it was largely a TikTok ripoff in the beginning. I remember last summer, I was telling my students who were doing TikTok, I'm like, you're going to look at Instagram Reels and go, why isn't there a lawsuit? Like, if you know how to do one, you definitely know how to do another. They are getting a little bit nuanced, but still, they're still largely each other. Because, what happened was Instagram said, holy crap, we have a ton of baby boomers and Gen Xers who are going into TikTok. It's not the sole province of the young and then super young adults. Surprise, surprise, 52% of everyone who's currently on TikTok, this is a 2021, piece of data. 52% of them are not Generation Z at all. So, and they're very healthy chunks. It's not just millennials and tiny chunks of baby boomers and Gen Xers. Well, if you're Instagram, you're seeing that or something similar in 2020, you're going, holy crap, I don't want to suffer MySpace disease and become irrelevant in the next couple months to a year. Holy crap, all the ad money will go to TikTok and they won't give us as much. We can't do that. That's a going out of business plan. So I will wrap this part up by telling you that short form content on Instagram, if you want to rank very well on Instagram, if you want to be suggested out onto the Explore page, do Reels. They are giving Reels a lot of real estate on the Explore page for a reason. They are going head to head with TikTok, and that is not the long form play that Instagram admitted they were into 2-3 years ago when they launched IGTV. Yes, they still give IGTV preference. It's video as well. But if you're like, I don't have time to sit down and play with an editor all day, do a 1-minute video or less, and you can be on Instagram Reels. You can use the same raw video and bring it into TikTok and do a TikTok. And you can even do YouTube Shorts if you want. One piece of short form content will give you a ton of power right now. Months from now, we don't know. Again, so much lighter and easier to do. Thank you, Donna and crew. I can't predict with certainty, but I can tell you that, like, if Instagram's saying it's no longer a photo sharing app, and that's what it was for a decade, what's that telling you, right? They are hard and fast trying to get people to use Instagram Reels, especially. That's where you're going to get the most suggestion juice to people who are not your followers yet on Instagram, but should be. So what other questions do you guys have? These questions are awesome. Again, I'm sorry for anybody watching replay. I'm running this off my laptop that had to be tethered to my phone because we have no internet again, which is insane. But I do want to say one thing. I hope I don't get like a freaking content strike here. Do not ignore YouTube. Do not ignore TikTok. Joe's Dairy Bar and Grill on TikTok is currently at 623,000 followers. I just put up a video the other day, okay, that was talking about Joe's Dairy Bar and Grill hitting 500,000. And I admit that video was shot about a week or so ago. I do my YouTube video content in batches, and then I hand it to my video editor, and he like puts out one a day on weekdays, right? And he does work for other people too, not just me. So that's my thing. I get a video a day, weekdays, and I pay him a package, right? And then he does the work. So I try to shoot my content in batches. So that video was shot about a week ago. It was put up a day or so ago when we had 500,000. So it took us, I don't know, say a week to 2 weeks to jump up another 100,000 people plus. And as with many platforms, the harder and faster you grow, the more liftoff you get, right? In the beginning, it's really hard because you're pushing that, snowball up the hill. But then once you get to the top and it's all downhill from there, the snowball becomes bigger, harder, faster. You know what I mean? It just grows in size as it moves faster. It's like that with most platforms and most algorithms, okay? That you guys should understand. So in the beginning, it doesn't matter how big your business is or not. If you're really starting to take content marketing, organic content marketing seriously on any social media platform, it does take some time to build up traction. Being intelligent about the keywords that are in your captions and the hashtags you use where applicable for, say, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Jack Dorsey. But, the bottom line is, once you know what you're doing, you're going to get pulled up in search more and more and more, and that's going to help you, right? And then the algorithm likes you and suggests you out more because you're keeping people on the platform more. For my Funnel Fairy Godmother students, that's what we call algorithmic compulsion, right? Do you guys have any questions related to algorithmic compulsion? Because literally, it's like we've been pushing the snowball up the hill. This time last year, we were lucky if we had like 200,000 people, and we've triple plus in the year, right? Twitter, indeed. Don't sleep on TikTok, though, because here's the point I want to make. We're a single location food service establishment in upstate New York. We're a 765 square foot teeny tiny building. Not only have we blown up huge on TikTok, and we have huge TikTok and even Instagram influencers duetting with our content, but we have had people come to us behind the scenes in like the messages on TikTok, right? If you know Instagram direct messages or DMs, TikTok has a similar thing, right? We have had people asking us to come out with our own merchandise. One little food service establishment in upstate New York that has a global following on TikTok alone that is almost 624,000 people strong. They want to wear our logo. They want to wear our merch because they like our content so much, and they're foodies, so that's important to them, that, you know, they say to themselves, I want a shirt, I want a hat, I want a hoodie as we get towards fall, you know? So now we're going to go into the physical products area where we never thought we were going to go to before. So even though our content on TikTok doesn't directly say, buy this, because we know most of the globe I can't ship a hamburger to, it'll be gross, right? We're like, hey, big foodies, love us. Hey, local community, love us. It started with the local community. Of course it did. And then it branched out from there. So, you know you're doing well when, if you look at the Joe's Dairy Bar and Grill content, we also took Joe's Dairy Bar as a handle, but the one that we use is at Joe's Dairy Bar and Grill on TikTok. You can see the content where it's just being celebratory for what we're known for. And foodies, we know our niche. We know that they're going to love to see how things are made, or goofing around, or making disgusting stuff and eating it as a goof. You know, people dancing around, people enjoying what they do, right? None of it's like, and we're running a sale. Because right now on TikTok, that's not what everyone loves. But once you build up the know, like, and trust factor, or what I call the KLT factor, that's when people say to you in the DMs or in the messages on TikTok, they go, hey, I saw this product. I saw this piece of jewelry that you were creating. Or I watched you through like a speed, what is it called? I'm going to blank out on it now, but like a sped up version of you creating that, piece of artwork. Is that piece of artwork for sale? Can you create something like that for me? I have quite a few students, 6 that I'm thinking of off the top of my head. I'm not putting Joe's in there, who make sales because of TikTok weekly or close. And when I say sales, it's not always just one sale. I've had one of the 6 tell me they had 6 sales in one day because of TikTok, and she doesn't put salesy messages on her TikTok content. On TikTok, the way the corporate culture is right now, if they like what they see, they have no problem. Folks are not shy about reaching out in the messages and saying, where do I get it? Where do I buy it? Could you make something similar, right? So you are missing out by being afraid of putting yourself or like your products, how you make them, how people use them, how they enjoy them on camera. And when Instagram's telling you, you can do photos, you can do graphics, that's still fine, but we're really going to pay attention to and give more algorithmic blessings on Instagram alone to video, short form, and long form content. That's your warning to not just stick with all the time or most of the time your graphics, your photos, whether they're products or not. Yes, still use them, but I would really swing hard into creating at least short form video content, because you're not shooting something for 10, 12 minutes like I do for my YouTube videos, sometimes less. It's up to a minute or ish. Like on TikTok, you can now go to 3 minutes for a video on TikTok? Do you have to? No, because up until maybe a couple of weeks ago, all they gave you was a minute, right? So like you can do quite a bit in a minute, or you can even have it be a series. Here's a minute of me starting to create a product. Here's another minute, I'm midway through it. Here's another minute, I'm finishing it. Here's another minute, I'm packing it up and sending it out, and look at all the cool packaging that I use to send out said product, right? All the time and the care that goes into it, right? And you're playing like trendy music in the background or a fun sound effect, and like that's it. You don't have to go crazy. You can use the special effects for Reels or TikTok, and I would recommend that you do that because those are additional algorithmic like data points that each platform's algorithm likes to see. They want to see that you're creating this stuff or at least finishing out the raw video on their platform, that you're not recycling videos between platforms. You can get into copyright issues if you do that too, because just because a sound effect or a piece of music is safe to use on Instagram for Reels or whatever doesn't mean that it's still copyrighted and safe to use on TikTok, right? If you want to create content with music that is safe to use on all platforms, then I recommend something like Epidemic Sound, and you can look that up and research it if you want to. Yes, that's an extra expense for beginner and intermediate type clientele. If you're going to spend money on anything, please use it on Flick. The link to it's down below. Yes, I'm an affiliate, but I use it, and so do I don't know. There are dozens and dozens of you that have signed up just through me alone that I know keep using it like every month because it works no matter what you're selling and no matter who you're selling it to. So yes, I do get a small commission from Flick, but there's no tool that's like it out there at all at any price point, and it's not crazy expensive, and there's different versions of the plan too if you're on a budget, and I understand that if you are. If you're not so good at picking the right hashtags for Instagram, and yes, my students and I definitely will use those hashtags on Twitter or TikTok, and even though it's not a Twitter or TikTok centric hashtag tool, it's Instagram centric, and it's an official third-party vendor of Instagram, so it's safe to use. Usually in a rough, broad brushstroke way, if I can be competitive with a particular hashtag on Instagram, usually in a broad brushstroke way, I can use it on TikTok. I can, and have a similar, enjoy a similar chance of success. And roughly the same thing with Twitter, I have found, and other students have found. So let's see. What other good questions do you guys have? Let me see the comments. If you're just tuning in, please give this a big thumbs up. That's an additional data point on YouTube that they like to see. Did my internet come back in the meantime? Because I'm doing this off my freaking cell phone right now, which is ridiculous. It seems like it might, but it's so sluggish. Any of my leaders in any of my student groups, if I can't really get on so much today, because I like to try to admin my groups nicely, it's because everything is like mud on my laptop, on my desktop. And my laptop's going to die soon, so I got to plug that back in. Right now I'm running this off of here. So if there's a delay, that's not normally what happens here if you're just catching us live or on the replay. And this is your first time in. If anyone's watching this on the replay and you have any questions, I'm more than happy to just put it in the comments. Unfortunately, right now, it seems that the comments when you go live or even when you premiere a video on YouTube, they disappear. Any comments that people make while a live is live or during the premiere. But then, of course, comments will stay afterwards. So you guys are more than welcome to comment in the comments section once the replay is up for those that are watching on the replay. And I'm happy to check back, and as I get better internet access, I'll be happy to respond to your questions. Thank you so much for everything that you do for us. It is my pleasure, Bridget. I love what I do, and I love who I do it for. Whether you're a paid student of mine on anything or not, folks, This is something that I'm doing on YouTube now weekly, is just like a give back to the community, not just my students, but anybody else who, could use some help and then complain that, nobody does any free coaching anymore or for whatever. Here I am. Somebody said that the comments say if you view on a computer. If I view it on a computer, that's interesting. Yeah, and I've searched around, okay, because I'm not the best at tech, but I am really good at researching stuff usually, and I still can't find like a fix for this. I had heard somebody, like, I want to see Daryl Eves sometime back, that he was saying that they are investing more and more into live stream on YouTube along the way, and there are some things that they want to upgrade or address as they go, because lives are still very important too. I would definitely say to go live on the top 2 platforms that are most important to your niche. So it could be Facebook and Instagram, but it could be a different mix. You have to know where your niche is. You have to understand who your niche is on a very granular or cellular level, or it's really hard to get out in front of them enough. Just because you may like Facebook, Instagram the most doesn't necessarily mean that they will. Instagram, odds are, will be part of your mix. The younger your people are, the less likely Facebook will be. But I think if you're selling to, gainfully employed millennials, which a lot of people like to do, Facebook should still be in your mix as well. If you're totally white collar in terms of your following, LinkedIn might be part of your strategy. And lucky you, videos and live/video content, I should say video content on LinkedIn does extremely well right now, because they're trying to stay competitive and not be stodgy themselves. So video content, I cannot stress it enough. You need to use as much as possible, because even Instagram isn't officially a photo sharing app anymore, when it was for 10, 11 years. What does that tell you? All right, let's see. My internet connection is really, really sluggish on my desktop, even though that's back. So I'm going to see if they're fixing it in my area. Again, apologies for being about 8 minutes later, whatever, today. It's been a while, I think, since I've had an issue like this. Where I am in upstate New York, unfortunately, you can pay for boosted mobile. You can get a new modem every year. It does not matter. It is so dumb. It is so dumb. But, we do the best with what we have to work with. Who else wants to share a win or talk about what kind of marketing they're doing mostly or completely this week? Is it relationship-based marketing? Is it sales-based marketing? Is it something that's a bit of both? Because before I sign off, I definitely want to tell people, especially if you're new to me or this channel, number one, please subscribe. I have lots of content marketing planning advice, copywriting advice, Instagram and TikTok I focus on a lot, because that's where you're going to get a lot of growth. Right? I'm not going after every last shiny object. Like, I'm not going to sit here and discuss Clubhouse right now. That's another bright rubber ball too. But I think for the type of students I tend to attract, if you're not on TikTok and Instagram, especially with Instagram Reels, you're doing your business and yourself a disservice. Personal Space Creation says, what happened, girl? You still with us? Let me see. So again, as I'm waiting for Bridget from Personal Space Creations, I will say this. Creating content isn't enough. If you're not doing video and short form video content, the algorithms aren't going to push you out even to your followers as much. Just because somebody's following you or subscribed to you or whatever the particular platform parlance is, it may shock you to know that they're not going to automatically see everything you put out. Unless they're hyper engaged with you, then they will. Because the algorithm on every platform, its goal is to keep everybody on that platform for as long as possible. So people engage with your stuff all the time or super most of the time. Yes, those people will see everything that you post. But if they're not as engaged, not posting and staying top of mind enough, eventually they do start to drift away. And then you've got, can you bring another snowball and push it back up the hill? You absolutely can. When I got injured last year and then got COVID from the medical facility that I was treating in, because I was going nowhere else at the time, That sucked. And that claimed in total about a half a year of my life. So now I'm pushing the ball back up the hill again, right? You look at my videos from this time last year, I was getting hundreds of views on them. The algorithm needs to warm up to me again. So I might be getting dozens right now. Am I pissed? Nah, because I'm just going to keep publishing and everything's going to keep warming back up again, and it's fine. I don't want any of my students or anybody who could be one of my students to have to push that ball up the hill numerous times. It's doable, but it gets harder and harder every time you have to start from scratch or close. An injury, God forbid, something like COVID or something that happens in your life that's going to throw you, life happens. But this is why, too, you want to be able to get a team where you can. You want to be able to use independent contractors if you can't. You want to be able to use auto posters. You need to make sure that you're covering your daily nut, at least on the top 2 platforms, social media platforms that are most important for your niche. And yeah, your website probably does need a blog post once a week. And yeah, whether you're doing products, services, coaches, course creators, yeah, you probably should have a YouTube channel and put out a video once a week. Is it a lot of work? Yes. Is it a lot of worthwhile work? Yes. Because especially if you're like, I don't have money for ads, you can do a lot with organic content marketing paired well with email marketing to people who do join your email list, to the point where hopefully your business gets enough traction that yes, you should at some point layer in ads. However, I don't want newbies to just jump into ads, because if you're not getting any conversions, even if it's low and slow organically, ads are just going to make a failing product or a failing concept fail faster. That's all it's going to do. And then you're going to burn through money. Once you know you're getting traction, even if it's low and slow, you're getting some followers or subscribers every week. Your email list, even if it's just growing by a couple of people, it's growing every week. Are you going to get unsubscribes? Everyone gets unsubscribes. Are you getting more subscribes than unsubscribes? You're good. Are you getting some sales? Great. Then to me, that may not be sexy, but it's enough traction that tells me that, yeah, you can start experimenting with ads. Once you know you've got a couple of weeks of this under your belt, if it's fiscally responsible, you can experiment with ads. Would I recommend that there's a point in time that you just run ads and you don't do content marketing organically, or you barely do? Nope, because you need to keep that know, like, and trust factor high. You need to build a brand community around you, because you're not necessarily going to reach your entire brand community with ads either, right? So yes, once you're an intermediate to advanced type business, you should be doing both organic content marketing and paid ad marketing. Joe's Dairy Bar and Grill runs ads around the big holidays for people to, within our area. Of course, we do geolocational ads. That's a big part of our ad strategy for us, because we're a brick and mortar and we sell edible products and edible product line collections. But we only have to spend a couple $100 to make thousands upon thousands of dollars back. Why? Because also, when people go and look up your business, they see that you have an active community. You're posting actively. People are commenting. You're commenting back at least a lot of the time. You may not be able to get everybody all the time, but that's okay. And, you're active and your community's active, because that gives you an instant hit of know, like, and trust. And yes, even for Joe's Dairy Bar and Grill, we have our own website. People will order through that website. They'll place takeout and delivery orders through our website every single day of the week, to the point where now we're open year round, where we used to be seasonal. And does that help us to be and to stay a 7-figure business now? Yep. Even though we're in the middle of nowhere, New York, and we're in a 765 square foot establishment, now we have people begging for merch, because you know what? When your clientele loves you, they want more from you. They don't want less. So again, it's pushing that boulder up the hill, or pushing that big snowball up the hill. But then when you get to a point like we are with Joe's, where it's all downhill from there, your biggest challenge is just keeping it going so the snowball doesn't hit a brick wall. Does that make sense? Okay, so Bridget says, I'm done rebranding the Popularity Plan graphics, spending time on Flick today doing National Day hashtags. Very, very smart. Okay, do you guys have any other questions, comments, or concerns for me? Because I definitely put back the time I was late because of my tech issues. Again, if you're watching this on the replay, don't be shy. You can ask questions or anything like that, or share anything you want to celebrate from what you're doing for your business this week in the comments below on the replay. I'll give you guys a minute because I want to make sure you're in a good place. Okay, going once. Going twice. Sold. I will talk to you guys this time next week on my YouTube channel. Hey, Miss Amy Lindblade. This was a good one, Miss Amy. So I would definitely go back and listen to it again, because I think we had a bunch of really great questions that are asked here. And it collectively serves as a nice broad overview. So again, if you guys could give this a big thumbs up before you go, I appreciate it if you haven't done it already. And I will talk to you guys this time again next week. Hopefully I have a nice internet connection like I usually do, but not always where I live. And I will talk to you later. Bye.